Let's go out to the guest line right now and talk to Leroy. Has dubbed him Leroy Horde. You have dubbed him a top three Buckeye that you like. I mean, your best friend Robert Smith is number one, but Kirk Herbstreit's up there.
I would go Keith Byers, and then I go Herbie.
Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit. He's got a new book out of the pocket: Football, Fatherhood, and College Game Day Saturdays. Kirk, thanks for the time this morning. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and I let me just say this: that Leroy Horde was one of the baddest men I've ever seen carry the rock as a college football player. Just ahead of his time. I was flipping around. I watch all these SEC networks, Big Ten networks. Big Ten Network last night had a Michigan Classic on. Michigan in the 1989 Rose Bowl against USC. Mark Carrier, Junior Seau, and there's Leroy Horde. I think Gerard Bunch was maybe the fullback.
Rodney
but
P.
dude, I've never spoken to you, but I just have so much respect for the player that you were. Not so much in NFL. I lose touch with some of these guys, but as a college back, you were special. So I just wanted to tell you that.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, even though you went to that school down south. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Kurt, real quick, this has been bothering me. Like, what? It's never like, even when we've had our runs, like Michigan's had runs. I used to say everybody had their John Cooper years where John Cooper just couldn't get past Michigan.
Yeah.
Has it ever been this long? It's never been this long.
Not that I can remember. I mean, Coop's tenure was obviously a tough time for in Ohio State. A lot of times they would have a team that was equal, if not better, and they just mentally, it was almost like we call a helmet game. You just couldn't get over the stress of trying to beat your rival. Michigan, man, 07 was one of Lloyd's, I think it may have been his last team, and that's when they had Mike Hart and Chad Henne, and then they went Rich Rod. They went to Rich Rod and then Brady Hoke, and man, it just seemed like they lost their way as far as recruiting players that fit the mold of what we've known Michigan to be for, 20, 30 years prior to that.
Right.
And
they got all these small linemen. I'm like, whoever saw a 270-pound lineman at Michigan?
I was watching that game last night, and I was looking at that roster, and I'm like, that's Michigan. I mean, the offensive linemen are like 6'7", 310 pounds. The linebackers could run. The safeties were NFL players. The corners were good. It's just, honestly, they're still trying to build it back up, and nobody knows Michigan history probably better than Jim Harbaugh. He's been there now for 5 or 6 years, and we keep waiting for it to kind of ignite and go, but up to this point, we just haven't seen it. So we'll see. And, they haven't been right at the quarterback position in a long time. It's been a long time. That and name the last great Michigan tailback. I'm talking like your caliber tailback. You, Ty Wheatley, Anthony Thomas. I'm talking like a back.
Right.
It's been a long time. So they've got to win in recruiting, and then they got to win in development in order to not just beat Ohio State, to get back to being a perennial top 5, top 7 kind of team.
We're talking to Kirk Herbstreit, and you can get his new book now, Out of the Pocket: Football, Fatherhood, and College Game Day Saturdays. Now, Kirk, we obviously have a big game coming up here, Miami and Alabama. I'm after hearing the scrimmages and hearing how good De'Aaron King looks, I'm getting to my cocky Canes fan level. What are the chances of them pulling off this upset, Kirk? Do you give them any shot in hell of making this happen? De'Aaron was amazing last year. He's obviously coming off an injury, but they are taking on the dynasty's dynasty. Do you give them any shot in hell in this game?
Yeah, you have to. De'Aaron King gives you providing he's healthy, and it sounds like he is. He to me could be the face of the sport this year. He is everything that's right about the game. I feel like because he solidified that position. We were just talking about Michigan at that spot. Miami's had the same concern, at quarterback for a number of years of just getting consistent play. When you get consistent play at that position, not only does it impact the offense, it impacts the defense and the belief in a team that, hey, we can win this game today. He's going to bring us back. He can help us win, as opposed to, oh boy, I don't know if we can count on him. So I think he's impacted the Miami culture as much as anybody. And I think, you are playing Alabama. I'm going to tell you right now, I know that we live in an offensive era, but if you're not familiar with Alabama in 2021, they're going to be back to being a dominant defense. They're going to figure things out offensively. Bill O'Brien, the former Houston Texans head coach, is the offensive coordinator. Doug Marrone, who's the Jags head coach, he's the offensive line coach. So that's who they replaced when they lost Sark. And then you got Bryce Young, who I think has a chance to be a lot like Tua. I think he could be a superstar. So it might be a little bit of work in progress on that side of the ball. But De'Eric and the Canes offense, they're going up against, to me, the best defense in the country. So that's a tough way to start. High school football, the NFL, they get preseason games. College football, you don't, obviously. And now you got to step into the arena with Alabama and the tempo and speed that they play on defense. It'll be a tough ask, but you always got a shot in college football to win a game.
Now, Herbie, I one of the things that I've always had a problem with is the way we, what we put on these college kids when they come out of college. And so, for example, everybody was in love with Herbert until somebody said, oh, he's going to be the second coming of Ryan Tannehill. And then that was it. Everybody loved Tua. He could do no wrong. Guys played 10 games in the NFL and everybody's rats off a ship. How can this happen this quick when we can go through the history of football and see, Peyton Manning's rookie year, Troy Aikman's rookie year, Tom Brady's rookie year, even though he won the Super Bowl, when you look at Ben Roethlisberger, none of these guys had standout rookie years. How can we just be so quick to either name them great or say they have no chance?
Man, I just think it's a microcosm of the world we live in, right? I think that's true in every aspect of life right now. And I think it's unfortunate, but you're right. In our era, a guy got a chance. He got a little bit of a leash, and they needed more information and data and intel before they declared this guy's good or he's bad. I think the same thing with coaches. A coach has a bad year. He's a terrible head coach. Get him out of here. Same with offensive coordinators. It's 3 games in. Oh my God, why'd they hire this guy? He's terrible. I just think it's the internet, the social media era that we live in. A story on Tua comes out that some of his current Miami Dolphin teammates, nobody was any quoted. It was anonymous sources, but they were already like, yeah, we don't. This guy's not right. This guy's not going to be able to get us to where we need to go. And I'm like you. What? He just got here. Like he's still trying to figure out where his locker is in the facility, and he's already looked at in that way. So I just think it just speaks volumes, not just at quarterback, but just in the social media world that we unfortunately live in right now.
Kirk, before we get you out of here, just your book coming on out. What is the thing you're proudest of, and how can people get it?
The book comes out today, and you can go through Amazon or Barnes & Noble or your local bookstore. And it's really not just a football or book about broadcasting or college football. It's just me kind of opening up my heart, talking about my life, my kind of the trials and tribulations that I went through as a kid. Parents divorced, being an introverted kid, just some of the challenges that I went through. My dad, who was my hero, was all of a sudden not there, and just it was not this perfect little world that maybe the perception may be. So, and then I had kids of my own, and I trying to be the best dad I can be, and not always having the right answers, and just trying to learn as I went, and just sharing those stories. So it's a book that's a lot more than just about a football and my journey as a broadcaster. It's just me, I guess, being vulnerable and deciding to open up and hoping that it resonates with some people that maybe have gone through some similar experiences as that I did, and just thought it was the right time to reflect and look back. And hopefully people, if they get it, they'll enjoy it.
Well, it's available now. Out of the Pocket: Football, Fatherhood, and College Game Day Saturdays. Kirk Herbstreit, thank you so much for the time and the kind words for Leroy. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kirk.
You got it, man.